Welcome back to UCTV MLB preview. Today we'll be taking a look at the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll start off with some of their key losses. Those include Adam Simber, Brandon Belt, Hyunjin Ryu, Chapman, and Jordan Hicks.
Yeah.
Uh,
They also
your
lost.
thoughts?
They lost with Merrifield too. Nothing crazy though. Hyunjin Ryu. They signed him to that contract back in the day. Wasn't amazing for them, but top of the rotation guy. Matt Chapman. They gave him a nice extension offer that he declined, and then signed something way lower. Uh, Brennan Belt. He was solid for them, and Jordan Hicks throws very fast. Some decent losses for this team, especially with what they got going on. It's not anything bad, but this could hurt them with some of the losses they did take.
Taking a look at some of their key additions, those include uh, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Justin Turner, Daniel Vogelback, and Eduardo Escobar. Not a lot of things going on in the addition.
Yeah, when you lose that much talent, usually you want to bring in some talent. Uh, they're getting the Dollar Tree version of Matt Chapman with Justin Turner, but I mean he won't be terrible. He's not garbage by any means, but definitely not what they wanted. They
He's
brought back
39.
Yeah, well, that's gonna happen. He's still productive, or at least he was the past few years. Danny Burgers was pretty bad with the Mets. Same with Eduardo Escobar. Can't believe even he got some trade offers and they got some prospects back for him. IKF defensive god can't really hit. I like the move they made for Uriel Rodriguez, the Cuban guy. But just like any of the Japanese pitchers that come over, we don't know what he's got since he did not play in the big leagues yet.
I think the theme of this team's additions and losses is, this team's been at least a couple pieces away for 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah, for sure.
And to have this offseason when being a couple pieces away is disappointing.
Yeah, it definitely hurts if you're a Toronto fan.
But let's take a look at their projected starting lineup. It reads George Springer in right, Bo Bichette at shortstop, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base, Justin Turner in the DH spot, Kevin Kiermaier in center, Alejandro Kirk at catcher, Dalton Varsho in left field, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third, and Cavan Biggio at second. Your thoughts?
Top of the lineup, very solid. I don't like Turner being at four in this lineup, but I guess I don't know who else would go there. I'd probably put Varsho since he's got a little more pop in the bat. George Springer, very good hitter, consistent. Had a little dip in average last year, but the power numbers will be there. Bo Bichette seems like he's only getting better each year. Almost hit 300 with 24 bombs. Love it. He's to me he's quick. He should be stealing more bags, but I guess whatever. Vladdy, he's you know what you're getting from him. Hopefully he could have a little more of an uptick closer to the MVP Vladdy we saw, or close to MVP Vladdy we saw a few years ago. Justin Turner, he'll probably hit about 15 bombs, 260 is what I'd guess for him this year. Kevin Kiermaier never really been much of a bat, more of a defensive guy. Alejandro Kirk, I like how they have him and Danny Jensen going back and forth at catcher. They're both, I mean, combined, they make a solid catcher with decent power. Varsho, like I said, hits a lot of homers. Not much on the average side, but I'd bump him up in that lineup if I was them. IKF, never want to see a guy like that in your lineup, but I guess for the defensive side, you'll take it. And Kevin Biggio, he's been like the only one of all those guys that came up a few years ago with Bichette and Guerrero that just really has never blossomed.
I think the key guy to hone in on for me, at least in this lineup, is Alejandro Kirk. His 2022 was exciting, promising, you know, so rare to get an offensive catcher that is still solid behind the plate. and then he really disappointed in 2023. So if he could step it back up, I think it, makes that lineup a lot more complete.
Yeah, for sure. I think Danny Jensen will probably get more at bats than him this year, considering what they did last year. But I think they're gonna bank on him bouncing back. But like I said, also I think Guerrero needs to bounce back a little bit too.
We'll now take a look at their projected starting rotation. That reads Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Yusei Kikuchi, and Bowden Francis. Alec Manoah is currently hurt.
And if he wasn't hurt, he'd be probably pretty bad, considering how he got rocked last year. This rotation to me has always been. I mean, they brought all these guys in the past few years. Gausman, he's their ace. He's gonna pitch well. I expect him to do what he's been doing. Berrios, he was really bad his first year. For the money he's getting, not great last year either. I mean, you'll take it.
It was a solid bounce back for him,
Yeah, for sure.
especially from the year prior.
Yeah.
I think he still gets hit pretty hard and, has the potential to blow up. But, you know, if he can trend that way, and we've seen him be great in the past. So it's not like he's old.
No, yeah, he's still young. He's got some years left in that arm. Bassett, very solid number three. Um, Kikuchi, very good name, but that's about where it. I mean, he wasn't bad by any means last year. Sub 4 ERA, so you'll definitely take that, especially from your four starter. And then Bowden is, he's young, just came up last year. Looked decent in the. I believe they had him coming out of the bullpen last year, so he looked decent there, but it's a very small sample size, so we'll see what we get out of him.
Big question mark, obviously. The top of the rotation, as long as Barrios doesn't blow up, that top of the rotation, that top four,
Very
nice.
solid. Very
Very
solid.
solid. Manoah is the question mark, right? He talks a lot of talk, does not do the walk. At least
Yeah.
last year he didn't.
I mean, he'll
So
walk guys, but he can't walk the walk.
he does a lot of walking, but you know, big prove it year for him. And potentially what could be a last prove it year.
Yeah.
So we'll see there. Looking at their bullpen, they have Jordan Romano, Eric Swanson, Yimi Garcia, Tim Meza, Chad Green, Genesis Cabrera, Trevor Richards, and Mitch White. And I really like it. I think, pitching is a strong suit of this team. This team, and it's been this way for in that time, those years now, right? Where it's like you felt they were a piece away, but then you look at the team and it's like this should be, a division winning team. But something goes wrong every year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This team's definitely the talent to win the division. They play in a tough division every year, so that may be part of the reason, but they got one of the best closers in the game, Jordan Romano, a guy who, if you combine our names, boom, always been a fan favorite of ours. Eric Swanson, very solid setup man. Can't really get much better than him. And the rest of this bullpen, I like it across the board. Chad Green was a little down last year, but he had some injuries, so we'll hope to see a bounce back from him. Very solid reliever throughout his career. But like you said, this pitching is going to carry this team, and if the offense could just be consistent, they they should be a playoff team yet again.
That'll do it for this episode of the MLB preview show. Tune in next episode where we'll take a look at the Tampa Bay Rays.